Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Veryn. I'm here today to use the luxury of filming as a sounding board while I try and figure out a dilemma I'm having between this and this. My Song of the Grandmother's Oracle deck and my Energy Archeology Oracle deck. So let's get into it. Up front, this is not a this or that. I am not getting rid of either of these. You can't make me. I'm having a very specific dilemma. And this dilemma centers around my moon return, which is today as I'm filming this. I don't know if you're going to see this. Well, you're definitely not going to see this today. I don't know when you're going to see this. But it is my moon return. So for those who don't know, I'm a professional astrologer. You can find my link down in the description box. And in astrology, we have returns, which is when whatever planet or planetary-like body we're talking about returns to the same position it was in when you were born. So my moon is at 13 degrees 44 arc minutes of Libra. So roughly every 28 days, the moon itself returns to the position of 13 degrees 44 arc minutes Libra. And this is a moon return. It's a lot more complicated than that, and there's more nuance, but we don't need that for this video. Here's the dilemma I'm having. My moon return is something I work with a lot as a Cancer rising sign. The moon is very important for me to work with. I'm also a full moon baby. There's lots of moon stuff in my life. And I work with the new moon, or with my moon return, as a time to kind of realign with my emotional center. It's a time to do emotional work or intuitive work or something. It's always emotional in nature because those are the things that the moon rules and represents in astrology. It represents your emotions, your intuition, your feelings, and also your body. And when I say your body, I mean the more spiritual, somatic kind of body stuff. It can relate to your physical body as well, but it's the kind of body feeling. It doesn't feel the same to me as talking about like pentacles or certain areas in your chart which more represent the physical, physiological body, etc. So when I got this fabulous deck, which I did back on Kickstarter, and it was one of my most exciting things, I started working with this with the moon. And I adore this deck. I adore everything about this deck. I adore the beautiful art by Maritza Rice Apprecio. Just making sure I'm saying that correctly. It's illustrated by Mari in the Sky, and this deck is created by Kara Simons, or Kara. I don't know if it's Kara or Kara. But I adore this. I adore the structure behind it. I adore the way it is built. There's an actual structure where you have some self-love cards, some harmony cards, some growth cards, some possibility cards, some service, some destruction cards. I've had some very amazing and powerful readings with this deck. The thing is, and I started using it with my, moon return. I would pull this as a grandmother. This is my grandmother for this moon return cycle that is granting me guidance. I would literally write in my journal what grandmother grants me guidance, and I would pull one. And it was wonderful, and I would pull some more cards to go with it. And I did that because this feels very gentle. Even when it's the harder cards, it still feels very gentle. It still feels very loving. It's the right kind of deck for the way I feel the moon return work is meant to be. This is according to, for me, right? So even this doesn't feel so scary or odd, you know, the grandmother tornado uprising, indignant whirlwind, revolving revolution, leveling the field. It's a powerful, powerful deck. So today's my moon return, and I'm come home and I sit down and I'm thinking, okay, it's time to pull my new grandmother. And then I had a thought. And that's where we get to this lovely deck. This is the Energy Archeology. This is the Energy Archeology Oracle by Ashley Stinson, illustrated by Kelly Finnan. Apologies for the pronunciation. And I got this more recently. These are the backs. I got this for my birthday. And this deck has just knocked my socks off. It is so powerful. And I can't figure out how to use it. I can't figure out, I know there's ways for me to use it, and I've worked with it in a few ways, or at least I've tried. So this card, it just destroys me. This deck is extremely special and extremely unique to me. And it talks all about how your bones are an oracle. Your bones, physically and energetically, are your foundation. They flow and transmit energy and frequency at a foundational level based on the deepest energetic resonance of who you are. This incredible intelligence flows through your marrow and is encoded within your very structure. These oracle cards are consciously created to help you access depths in your bones and the wisdom held there. When I first got this deck, I pulled cards, one a month for my annual perfection year. I think I talked about that in the previous video. If I can remember and find it, I will link it up in the cards. And I've had those cards out, and it's been incredible and very powerful, but it's not enough. This is a deck that requires time and depth and like incredible depth. And this deck wants to keep going. It wants to keep going. But like, the past few months have been kind of weird in my practice, and everything's gotten a little squishy and strange. And I'm not sure how much of that is just my own personal transformation journey. But the annual perfection year, the way I've been trying to work with things hasn't quite been working. I love the ideas, but there's a lot of parts that just haven't gotten up off the ground fully. Anyways, so I've also thought about working with this deck with the moon. And I wasn't sure why, but I think I figured out why. Because of the depth in this, my moon, not only is it in Libra, my moon is in my 4th house in my chart. In my chart, Libra is my 4th house. So I think I figured out why I've been wanting to work with this, with the moon in some way. And I think it's because, so in my chart, and apologies if this is a weird cut, In my chart, my moon is in my 4th house, and that's the house of home and roots and ancestry. It is a deep place. It is the deepest place in your chart often. And that's where my moon is. So wanting to work with something that connects super deeply for my moon doesn't seem that surprising. So then I came home and I sat down and I'm like about to pull my moon return. And I go to the grandmother and it hits me, maybe I should use this instead. And now I don't know what to do. And so I thought I'd at least turn on the camera and chat with y'all. Because, so the concern is, my concern is, will I stop using my grandmother oracle? Because I don't want to. That said, I did really love using the grandmother's oracle as a daily reading. I do really love that. Let me think here. Another thing I also tried to do was I also tried to integrate this, the energy archaeology, with my oh my gosh, brain. Hello, can you wake up please, brain? With my year ahead spread. I've done a whole video about year ahead spreads. I'll link it up above in the cards. Because this does look really phenomenal next to my Star Seeker Tarot. So let's put this aside for a second and let's talk about this as a daily thing. Because, so for me, what happens is I tend to create long-term practices until something shifts or I get something new and it like shakes it up. I'm going to look at this beside the Pacific Northwest Tarot because this is the first deck that I was using with this, and I do very much love them together. So we're going to look at these for a minute. So what I tend to do is I create practices that just keep going and going and going. And I kind of tend to slowly or sometimes quickly shift those practices until I find the perfect thing. The thing that just hits the spot. Like my year ahead spread. I've tried many different things with my year ahead spread, and then when I got this, I've tried pulling a year ahead spread at different times. Like I just said, I just recently tried pulling this as an addition to my year ahead spread, and I always come back to my Star Seeker Tarot combined with my Heavenly Bodies Astrology deck. Once I find a thing and my brain says this is perfect, I kind of tend to stay there. So I've been using the Star Seeker Tarot for my year ahead spreads since, let me see. Okay, so it's been almost 2 years since I got the Star Seeker Tarot. I got it in July, or in like August 2021. I got the Star Seeker Tarot in like August 2021. And then I pulled my year ahead spread sessions. I pulled my year ahead spreads both for myself and for clients for 2022 using the Star Seeker Tarot. And I also am doing the same thing this year. So I did a whole year where I was pulling and working with the Star Seeker Tarot for myself and for like 6 other individuals, with a bit of ebb and flow in there, for over a year. And I do this every single month. And I love it, and I'm not sick of it yet. When I find something that works, I stay there. And I stay there and I stay there and I stay there until maybe it doesn't work anymore. Or until like it just stops working for some reason, whether that's because I've grown and evolved or because I found something that scratches the itch slightly better and it replaces the old thing. And so that's what I'm wondering, if that is what's happening with the energy archaeology, if this has slid in and scratches the itch and hits better and does more with my moon return than this does. So I've worked with this for daily pulls before. At first I was working with it with the Pacific Northwest Tarot, which I do love with it, but here comes the thing that's slightly better. But then I got this deck. So the Grandmother Oracle here, this one, really, really, really hits me in my feelings. It always does. Whereas the Pacific Northwest Tarot, I would get great readings with it, but it doesn't really hit me in my feelings the same way. It just simply does not. And then one day I paired these two together, and this hits me in my feelings. Now, the art is not a perfect style match, but I don't need a perfect style match with my pairs. It's the feeling. I'm a feelings person. If I feel it, then I go for it. And that's partly, like, that's my moon stuff too. Okay, so I'm feeling really good about this idea because, so, same thing, this deck had replaced how I was using my This Might Hurt Tarot. My This Might Hurt is still a classic reader, and I adore it, but like, this deck I was using to pull my daily card every single day, and I loved it. And every time I would try and pull other things to see my daily card, and that's the one that I wear. This one kind of ends up being like a sign and a symbol to look out for throughout the day, as opposed to a reading. And I've tried to find ways to integrate my daily pull, which I record, into a reading, and that's never quite worked. And I think that's just because this is just like the signs and the symbols. And some days it's really potent. Other days I feel like I'm just kind of wearing that energy around me as like a sacred totem. So I was using the This Might Hurt to pull that card every single day until I got the Tarot of Oneness. Because the Tarot of Oneness for me really, really hits that feelings place. If I was having a hard time with my emotions and I needed to dig in to understand them, I would go with the Tarot of Oneness, which that happens quite a lot for me because I'm an extremely emotional person and my emotions tend to overwhelm things for me. However, both of these decks hit me in the emotion. Ooh, excuse me, sorry about that. Both of these decks, the grandmothers and this, hits me in the emotions. And I really like this together. And I've pulled the grandmothers. This is the chaos that goes with and on with my brain. So the grandmothers, when I first got them, I loved them so much. I wanted to work with them every day, so I was pulling them daily. And then I got the idea to work with them for my moon return, so I stopped pulling them daily. And what I would do is I would pull a card. So here, grandmother pair timing. And then I would pull cards for the bold words. Each card tends to have at least 2 sets of words that are bolded. So grandmother pair timing, every step matters, pay attention to sequence, you're in the right phase. And here we would have, so I would pull something for matters, like based off the word matters and based off the message of grandmother pair, I would pull a card on one side for what matters. And this here would be the sun, and then I would pull another side for the right phase, and that here would be justice. Okay. So I think that settles that. I am going to use this as a daily reading, which is actually extremely exciting to think about it, because I adore this. And again, it just feels right. So I'm going to use this for a daily reading with my Tarot of Oneness. And then I'm going to, along with that, because I'll be using my Tarot of Oneness for a daily reading instead of my daily draw. So the difference to me is extremely literal. The daily draw, I literally just pull a card and I pull it from the charm cast and then I put it in here. I could just pull straight from the charm cast, but I really like the shuffling thing, so that tends to be how I prefer to do that. So my Tarot of Oneness I'm going to use every day with my Song of the Grandmothers for a daily reading. Kind of like the energy, the obstacle, and the advice kind of thing, which I've done that before as well with this pairing, and it's beautiful. Which means I can go back to using my This Might Hurt Tarot for my daily pull, or I could use any of my other classic decks. It doesn't really matter. It's just to record the card. And then this baby is going to be for my moon return. Now the question is, what deck to use with it to go deeper? I sincerely hope you can hear that. The Happy Tarot isn't quite the right match, buddy. So I really like these together with Feeling. And I've tried to work with these together and they work well enough, but I think it's not quite right. So this is my Star Seeker Tarot. And again, I have a practice that is consistent and easy to maintain. This is why I keep evolving and I keep changing, because I know how beautifully and perfectly it works when I find a practice that is like zero maintenance. I do not have to think about the fact and ask myself whether or not, Cam, quieter please. I do not have to think about the Star Seeker Tarot and ask myself whether or not I'm going to use it. I know 100% for a fact that it is going to get pulled out at the end of every month for myself and for my clients. And of course, I pull it out for other readings, like little ones here and there for reading for clients. So I never have to worry. I never think to myself, what should I use my Star Seeker Tarot for? It has its purpose. It has its place. And nothing can replace that, at least at this point, because it works so beautifully and so perfectly that I've been doing this using it for almost 2 years, and it's still a seamless experience. So this has its place. I never have to think about when there's zero maintenance. It's just habit. It's just something that's fully integrated into my regular life, but it still gives that impact that you want. I have also looked at this deck with the Somnia Tarot, and I do think this is an extremely impactful pairing, and I'll show it to you, but I can tell you right now I'm not going to actually work with this, because this Somnia Tarot has an extremely special place that I still have been too much of a chicken shit to actually do yet. I've mentioned it before, and I'm still not going to share fully. But suffice it to say, once I got my hands on the Somnia Tarot, I got a very clear feeling and calling to work with it in an extremely specific way, and I have yet to do that. I really want with the Somnia Tarot to go the whole 9 yards, to consecrate it and bless it for a very specific purpose. Maybe I will do that with the Cancer new moon. I'm not sure when I'll do that, but this has a very specific purpose, which it's just not ready for yet. So there's that, but that would make a very good pairing. I also have, okay, so I want to check this with my Cosmovisions Oracle, which is essentially a tarot. Yeah, I don't think this is it either. Damn. I'm trying to think what kind of tarot deck I have that I feel the depth of. This is one of those decks that I had this had a very specific and special place. And like the Cosmovisions was like my ancestor tarot. And then I got the idea that maybe I'd work with it a lot for my death year, my death card year, which is this year, but I haven't touched it. And like at the same time, I got the Gentle Tarot, and the Gentle Tarot, I very much experienced my ancestors through that as well. Saying that though, I really, really, really miss using this, and this is such a special deck that I really, really, really want to more fully get to know and work with. I adore this. I miss it so much. So that's not a match. Okay, so I'm looking for a deck here to see if I have. I want it to be, like, I want there to be a nice aesthetic combination for sure. But I'm looking for a deck that feels deep and powerful, like the Energy Archeology Oracle does to me. I have a thought. I have no clue. I feel like maybe I tried this and... Oh dear, I put some of my cards aside there. Okay. This is the El Goliath Tarot, which is another deck that I don't tend to use. And this is a deck that I very much feel this deck. And this is another deck that I very much feel, oh, there it is. I very much feel the impact of both of these decks. I think what holds me back from using the El Goliath Tarot specifically is the fact that it's very shadow-centric. Like, it's literally is very much about shadow work. And I think I have some hang-ups about that, in the sense of shadow work is a thing that, to me, like, it's dark, it's hard, but to me it is the most beautiful thing. Okay. I'm getting feelings looking at this, and I think it's quite a beautiful pairing, even though it's kind of odd. I want to check out and see if there's anything else. This is such a unique deck that there's just not much that, like, holds a candle to it. I feel like I'm thinking here. What is this? I'm unsure if I feel like I have something that goes with this fully. Yeah, that's a no. I don't like that. I'm just not sure I have the Gentle Tarot in several editions. I also have the Brady Tarot. Okay. No, I don't like that either. It doesn't feel right. And this is kind of the problem I have. I don't feel like I have quite the right tarot deck for this. But I can't think of a tarot deck that I have that is right. Now, I do have the Lunasol still. If you've been here for a while, you will have seen me very much waffle right back and forth with this deck. And, like, just yesterday, I pulled it out of purgatory. Okay. I really love the colors of this, actually. I've just had a thought. So, I like this color palette, but I don't like the contrast of the art style because this is so stunning. And I just had a thought. I bet that this would go really, really well next to the Herb Crafters Tarot. they have a very similar art style. I'm going to shift this over and I'm going to put a picture here in editing, and I'm going to flip through some pictures of these next to each other because I don't have the Herb Crafters Tarot. I want it. I've wanted it for years, but I don't have it. I think without seeing the big pictures next to each other, because I'm currently still filming, I think those would go amazing art style wise. I don't know about feeling because I don't have the Herb Crafters Tarot, as I said. I don't know if I have anything else that feels like a good thing to go with this deck. That's no. I can't think of anything else to even try. I don't really feel like the Gentle Tarot's right. I have the Ostara Tarot. God, I love the backs of this so much. No. Well, we've made some progress, and that just might be where we have to end it for today. Because I've determined that I do want to use this for my moon return. I think I'm going to try it with the Elk Goliath, but I don't think that's quite right either. I wish right now that I had the Herb Crafters Tarot. But alas, I do not. That is an extremely powerful combo. But I think that's just like these. I feel like this, they go beautifully and I definitely feel them, but they don't feel quite right. I am going to leave this video here because I've made progress. And maybe for my moon return, I'll just journal deeply on this card for now. I'm not sure. I'm just going to end this here. I've got a child who wants my attention and I've made progress. So that's where we're going to leave it. Thank you for joining me for this little play with me kind of video. Let me know if you have any decks that you feel go really well with the energy archaeology. Leave it in the comments down below. I would love to hear about it. And I'm going to let you go here. And I will see you all again very soon. Check out the description box links and all of that. But I really got to run. Lots of love. Bye.